So as we understood the summary of what a human brain structure looks like and what are all the functional elements of the human brain through the summary and the discussion which we had previously. So now let's jump into building of one artificial neural network, or how a artificial neural network would be an analogy to the actual human brain structure. So what will be the basic element of our artificial neural network? So when it comes to brain, it's a neuron. But what is the element which will be a basic functional element that will be performing a similar kind of activities or similar kind of functions a neuron in a human brain performs? So in this segment, we will study a simple device which we call as neuron when it comes to human brain, but here we name it as perceptron. So in a artificial neural network, we refer it as a perceptron, which was the first step towards creating the large neural network which we have today. So let's take a quick example to understand how a perceptron works. So consider a Chinese restaurant which you are planning to visit on the coming Sunday. So there are various factors that would affect this decision, right? So suppose if you are planning to go for that restaurant, there will be certain factors, or there will be certain decision parameter which we will be considering in order to go to that restaurant, right? So the I have listed top three among them. So the very first thing will be how far is it, right? So how far the Chinese restaurant is it? How costly is it? Or what is the cost for two or cost for three in that restaurant? Finally, it might also account about the ratings, which nowadays we actually prefer to be. So, what is the rating of the restaurant? So, what are all the different menu items, or what is the average customer rating where for that restaurant, etc. So, but on a whole, how costly is it? And the final thing would be how many people are accompanying you, and that is like with how many people you are going to visit that restaurant, because like there will be a cost distribution or cost split up, etc. Suppose if it is a very costly restaurant, then if we are accompanied with many people, then we will be having a advantage of splitting up of the cost, right? So you take this decision on multiple factors, right? Also, each decision factor has a different weight. Weight in the sense, for example, the distance of the place might be more important than the number of people. So the term weight also refers to the priority, right? So which is the most priority for you when it comes to visiting to that restaurant. So and we when it comes to artificial neural network, so the perceptron actually learns or take the input parameters, that is decision parameters. The task of the perceptron is to decide whether to visit that Chinese restaurant or not. So the perceptron will receive these as input signals, and along with these decision parameters, there will be associated weight to each of the decision parameter. So it will learns or it will try to analyze these input parameters or decision parameters and performs certain mathematical operations or mathematical equations, or perform that or solve that equation in order to arrive at a final decision to visit the restaurant or not. So the final decision of the final output of the perceptron would be to visit the Chinese restaurant or not, based on the input decision parameters and the weight associated with each of the decision parameter. So this is how a perceptron works in a real time. So it takes certain inputs as decision parameters, and it learns or solves the weight associated with each decision parameter, and it comes to a decision or a conclusion based on the weight and the decision parameters and gives the output. So this is how a perceptron works in a real time. So moving forward, we will try to understand more about how this actually appears, or what will be the mathematical equation this perceptron will be carrying out in order to come to that decision based on these input parameters.